Calvano. It is Tournament Talk on the Tournament Edge, as Andrew and I will be breaking down the Longines Breeders' Cup Distaff. It's race 9 on Friday, Andrew. It's a mile and an eighth on the dirt for 3-year-olds and up. It's a field of 8, but this is a prime example of what the Breeders' Cup is all about. We've got Songbird, we've got Beholder, and we've got a horse in stellar wind that has beaten Beholder 2 consecutive races. Bobby Shoemaker, Andrew Calvano, Tournament Talk on the Tournament Edge, covering Saturday's Grade 1 Longines Breeders' Cup Turf. It's race 9 again on Saturday, a mile and a half for 3-year-olds and up. It's a field of 13, Andrew. Flintshire, the 4-horse, is your 5-2 morning line favorite. It's Chad Brown. It's Javier Castellano. You're certainly going to be more exciting in this race than I am, so let me just go ahead and get my thoughts out of the way and give the floor to you. I did a lot of things here to try to beat Flintshire, whether it was pace, whether it was numbers, and I just couldn't do it. The 2 horses that I thought, Andrew, that were close to Flintshire were Highland Reel and Found. And they're just 1 tick above Flintshire morning line odds. They're 3-1. They pay $8 and change. Flintshire's 5-2. He pays $7 and change. I find that morning line to be ridiculous, and here's why I say that. If you take away Flintshire's last race, which was on a very yielding to soft turf course, this horse is undefeated in America, and he's destroying his competition, running lights out, whether it's Beyer Speed Figures or whether it's Timeform US Speed Figures, Thoroughgraph. Look at all of them. He is a man amongst boys. I have an ultra respect for Found, but again, a very vigorous campaign, who's shipping, and she's proved she's better than Highland Reel. Therefore, those 2 were out for me, Andrew. Flintshire's the horse to beat. He gets a firm turf going this time out, just like he has every single time in this country except once, which is why he came to America to begin with and got under the tutelage of Chad Brown, because the connections wanted to keep him away from a yielding turf course. For this horse to be 5-2 morning line, I find it ridiculous. I think he could arguably be the best horse in the world right now. No disrespect to California Chrome. He's going to win this race.
Yeah, and Bob, obviously, ultra respect for your top selection, Flintshire. And when I looked at this race, I saw it as a 2-horse race as well, with Flintshire being absolutely the horse to beat. Obviously, we just kind of differ on who could upset this one. But like you said, finds a very soft yielding turf course in the Turf Classic last time out. They let Ecto wire the field, and you could tell Flintshire just wasn't comfortable, and it wasn't during the stretch run. It was throughout the race. You could tell the horses, didn't like it. And like you said, Bob, that's the reason the horse, shipped back overseas. I think if this horse comes in like any other race, whether it be the Manhattan, the Bowling Green, the Sword Dancer, everybody else is going to be in some big, big trouble here. Also, making note, we talk about these races at Saratoga with Flintshire where, turn it for home, there's a wall of 6 horses in this one's way. He escapes, he gets through. Then 2 other horses drift his way. He weaves in and out. Just shows time and time again. And I wrote in the analysis, not only does this horse need firm turf, but he just needs room. If this horse has room, then he is by far the best horse in the field and can do so many things. And that's why I'm not trying to get too sneaky here, because I plan on having a big pick 4 sequence with this race kicking off. Now I'm going to go with 2 horses. In the tournament, I'm going to take this horse. I really think this horse is a huge, huge shot. I'll key him up and down with Flintshire, try to make some money in the exotics as well. And that's number 2, the Big Hoss, at 20-1. This one comes in on a 4-race win streak, winning the last 5 or 6 this year, almost $1 million this year. This one has answered the call with everything that's sent his way. The 1.5 mile distance, only finished out of the money 1 time, 4 for 6 lifetime. Most recent winner of the Kentucky Turf Club at Kentucky Downs over the yielding turf course. I saw this pace as one that was kind of in the middle of moderate and hot. I thought it could really set up for something like Flintshire, like the Big Hoss, and I think that's why I landed on those 2 specifically. Obviously, the Euros, are also going to have a big chance at closing, but I think the style that the Big Hoss and Flintshire have already proved is going to make this race so crucial to where I think, honestly, they run down to the wire together. Now, if Flintshire breaks down by a horse and he goes on and wins by a length, that's fine. I can expect that. But I know deep down I might get 25, 30 to 1 if the price drifts up on the big horse, and I'm going to get a huge price come tournament time. Time and time again, this horse closes from way deep, but he has the versatility to show some tactical speed and be up close and maybe sit at that second shelf. I saw him sitting about that third shelf, maybe about 7-8 lengths off, and closing deep on this hot pace. So for tournaments, give me the big horse at 20 to 1. I'm going to key him up and down with Flintshire, who I do believe is the horse to beat.
One thing I want to note to the viewers before I ask you a question about the big horse that really propelled you to want to take him in tournaments. Flintshire has run here at Santa Anita in the past. In this race, finished second to a horse by the name of Main Sequence, who probably would have won Horse of the Year if it weren't for California Chrome's unbelievable year. Main Sequence was undefeated on the turf. He won all over the country. So Flintshire's ran here before on a firm turf course and lost to a very good horse that you could have argued would have been Horse of the Year if it weren't for California Chrome. Question to you in regards to the big horse. Is there a race specifically on his past performances this year that put him over the top for you to honestly think, to say to yourself, I think he's got a good shot to beat Flintshire if I get lucky to a certain degree, as far as trip is concerned, which you already elaborated on?
Without a doubt, and that would definitely be the Belmont Gold Cup. The 2-mile race at Belmont, a 12-horse field. You know, he had to weave in and out of traffic so often, had to steady, almost checked, turning for home. But just the way the Florent Drew shake the reins on this horse, once he switched leads, he was just gone. Now, more often than not, the big long shots that hit the board in this race, because first off, this race is highly dominated by either European horses or horses that have started their career in Europe and have now run in the U.S., no doubt. However, the big long shots that finish out the trifecta mostly run one prep in New York beforehand. So it's good to see that Belmont Gold Cup. I was there that day. I thought the horse was much, much the best. So going off one performance I really, really like, it is that Belmont Gold Cup on Belmont 6 weekend.
I think this is a very weak field, in my opinion, other than your top selection, Flintshire, and then obviously the 2 Euros or no-brainers found in Highland Rio, who have been running at a high level against, let's face it, better competition consistently than any horse in this field. No disrespect to Flintshire, but that's just a fact. I wanted to ask you about Ectop, the 3-horse. I think he's well below the morning line that he should be. I mean, people say Pletcher finally got him right, that, that was his 3rd start in America. He's always had they've always had high hopes for this horse, if you will. I think he just caught lightning in a bottle, ran on the yielding turf, ate it up. You could tell he loved it from the minute he got out of the gate. He gets back to the firm going in which he got the first 2 starts when he didn't run very fast at all and lost his first 2 starts. I don't think he's a player at all. Your thoughts on Ectop?
Yeah, without a doubt. And, like I said, Bob, I actually see this one getting in some sort of pace duel. So I'm going to take a couple points off this one. Also surprised by the 8-1 morning line. Surprised he's even a single-digit odd number. The note I wanted to make on this one's last start where he defeated Flintshire, only a 4-horse field. Obviously, really the only other competitor was Flintshire. I think the 5-length victory was exaggerated due to the fact that Flintshire was not moving late. He just was not coming in on him. Now, this is a regular race. No way this horse outbeats Flintshire. So I think the 5-length victory is just a tad exaggerated, as well as the 106 buyer. Now, don't get me wrong. This horse ran a great race. All things went his way. But I just think numbers are a little too exaggerated from that race, making this horse a beatable horse at that 8-1 price. Now, what I'm saying by that is, obviously, I'm going for a 20. I would take the big horse at 8-1 underneath. I would take the big horse at 8-1 underneath Flintshire. I would.
I respect that.
Ecto, no way. That's the difference between finding horses underneath in value in these types of races.
Obviously, you think the big horse is the best American horse in this field. And I wanted to ask you who you thought the second best was, and Flintshire doesn't count, because let's face it. I mean, he's a Euro trade. You know what I'm saying? Traded from Europe to America, basically. My money would be on, and no pun intended, Money Multipliers had a very solid year. I don't think he has a chance to win this race, but you could argue he's run some very comparable races. And let's go back to August 27th in the Sword Dancer, where he only loses to to Flintshire by a length and 3/4 and ran a 1:19 time form U.S. speed figure. He gets the ultra savvy Johnny Velasquez, who's been here and done that, and it's Chad Brown's other horse. Is this a horse that you're telling the viewers, hey, take Flintshire, take the big hoss, and put money multiplier underneath and see if you can make some money?
Without a doubt, and another high price, and this is what I'm saying. This horse should be 15-1 morning line. There's no way Ecto should be 8-1 morning line. But I remember money multiplier. I'm pretty sure we talked about this one in the Mano War back on that May 14th race. I had this one at a huge number at 18-1 and just gets caught late by Wake Forest. I think this one has a lot of tactical speed, but just like the big horse has the versatility to sit that second shelf. So this is another horse that can very well find its way underneath Flintshire, and I would agree with you that this is probably the second best American horse if I'm considering the big horse the first best American horse. Bob, before we move on, I just wanted to ask you about one more horse, and that's number 5, Ashley Love Sugar. Obviously, this one has the most experience on the turf course. A winner of 2 straight in the Del Mar Handicap and John Henry Turf Club Stakes. Peter Urton, Gary Stevens, a jockey that's been there, done that, as you said about Johnny Velasquez. What do you think about this horse?
I'm not going to let you off the hook. I got another question for you after I answer this one. But I don't like the West Coast turf horses at all. And I'm playing against them hard this entire weekend. I have been caught up in some of the hype sometimes. I'll tell you one of the horses that I did get caught up with, and that stays in Vegas. That's one example of horses that have run well on the West Coast, have either faced East Coast horses or have shipped out east and just not run well. I don't respect the West Coast turf horses, especially at this distance. I think they're way up against it. Ashley Love Sugar is a good West Coast long-distance turf horse. But, this gelding is now facing horses that are vastly better. I mean, worlds better. The big horse is way better. Money Multiplier is way better. I don't need to mention Flintshire. I don't need to defend Found. I don't need to defend Highland Reel. And I think you can make cases that Twilight Eclipse on his best day has sometimes won better races than the 5.
Yeah, without a doubt. Obviously, a lot of hype coming in. Has this one, has the home field advantage, which, should play a part in this weekend. Now, it doesn't always work out in their favor. However, not in a race. See, like in a race where you got the downhill turf course, that's where you may want to buy into West Coast turf horses. In this one, West Coast horses, especially California breds, generally aren't bred to run this long distance. So might want to watch out getting caught in the hype of this one.
We have to talk about Found, and that's where I wanted to go before we moved on. I mean, this horse won this race last year in shocking fashion. I thought Golden Horn, in all honesty, Andrew, was – I know there's no locks in horse racing. Outside of American Pharoah in the Breeders' Cup Classic, I thought this horse, Golden Horn, was an absolute cinch to win this race, and Found, off a vigorous schedule, much like this one, found a way to get it done by a half a length. Was it she liked Keeneland? Was it she liked the good instead of the firm? I'm not sure. I found her in this spot perplexing. And in fact, I find shipping her here and putting her in this race perplexing off of a 21-day layoff. There were talks for days that she was going to enter the Breeders' Cup Classic. Then Aiden O'Brien, who some say is the best trainer in the world at what he does, decides last minute, I do believe, to put her in this race. She's already won this race. I'm not sure what she has to prove at this point. I think I would rather seen her in the Classic just for intrigue, not that the Classic doesn't have enough of that already. Again, I think she's your second most likely winner, but I wanted your thoughts on Found.
Yeah, without a doubt. And, it's going to be a very interesting race between her and Flintshire. Should the big horse be coming late, because Found is obviously very talented. 9 starts this year, hasn't missed the money. Though 2 wins, this one has run second behind the likes of El Manazor, who won the Irish Championship Stakes, as well as the Ascot Champion Stakes. The majority of winners in this race come from the Irish Champion Stakes from Leopardstown in Ireland. So to see that horse not come, but instead here comes Found to defend the title, I think this one is very, very sneaky good. I honestly think that with the Flintshire hype, you may see this horse near 7-2. Now, I had this horse last year. It was a part of that big pick 4, where somehow, if you look at it today, a 50-cent pick 4 paid something like $750 for Tepin, American Pharoah, Found, and Nyquist. Now, today, that pick 4 may pay under $100.
No question.
So, like you said, beating Golden Horn that day was very essential, and Golden Horn absolutely was a standout that day. Luckily, I had Found at a value to beat him. But I think Found is obviously going to be so difficult to beat here and should not be overshadowed by horses like Flintshire, who is the one to beat, and Highland Reel as well. I think Found is twice the horse Highland Reel is. I don't want this horse to be let go in the shadows of Flintshire, because this one is the defending champion and also has a big shot.
Andrew, on the big horse at 20-1. I'm sorry, viewers, I just couldn't find value in here. I think the Flintshire is spectacular, and people on Saturday are going to be reminded just how good that this horse is. So that's going to do it for the Grade 1 Longines Breeders' Cup Turf on Saturday. I'm Bobby Shoemaker. That's Andrew Calvano. Good luck.
Good luck, guys.